Do you believe that spirits are aware of the here and now? Are they in the present with us? Are we, obviously, their energy patterns we're able to feel and pick up on? Is it a quantum timeline? There's so many questions, right? So many questions. I know just recently too, like some of the physics, the quantum, they've kind of discovered that there's definitely
Hmm.
layers that are,
Yeah.
that we're able to peel back. And does this work in the paranormal? Is this what interacting with a spirit is? Are they able to move over those and energy fields, those divisions, and are they able to, come to where we are? Well, clearly we're able to sense them. So there has to be some interaction, but for me, like I said, I'm still unsure of where where or how that really, exists, right? How do I cannot begin to explain it. I am certainly no quantum physicist, so that is something I am not. That's a math thing. I'm just
Yeah.
let's just say, yeah. So, uh, anyway, I guess we've kind of done our hour here, and
Hmm.
we, like always, get off on little
Once
tangents.
again. Yep.
But I think we kind of, covered a lot today. So if anybody's watching and they want to give us, their thoughts or
Yep.
questions,
Please comment below.
yeah, comment. And even if you've got ideas for an upcoming show, because we're always looking for those. And speaking of that, haha, nice segue, huh?
Mhm.
We next week are going to, hopefully Rachel will be back. If not, Ian and I will be here. We're going to chat about the mysteries of King Tut.
The curse of Tut.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
that's all part of the
I've
opening of the tomb, the curse that was claimed to
well,
have come
we're going to
forward
talk
from
about
that.
those things. There's quite a number of supernatural happenings, or what people at the time thought were happenings around the tomb. Yeah, so we're going to get into that. And that, for me, obviously being an archaeologist, and I spent a big chunk of time in the Egyptology realm, and hence with my mummy unwrappings and all the other Egyptian things that I talk about and
And I
go to.
also have a family connection
Yeah, which is
to
really
the
cool.
discovery of the Tutankhamun tomb.
That's pretty cool. So I want you to tell us about your relative and your, that family connection. And we'll talk about, some of the things that surrounded the strange supernatural happenings that did or possibly people thought about in those times. And even going back to Tut's time too, right? Because a lot of that plays forward in Egyptian burials. So, their belief systems in the afterlife and all of those things tie into the spirit realm. So, we're going to chat about that next week. And then the week after, do we want to talk about the scientific side, as we were discussing earlier before the show? Getting into the, is it a gas leak? Is it a, you know, those kinds of things, just to really go that one step further, right?
Sure.
What could cause a possible belief in a paranormal happening that maybe can be explained by science, right? That we have some science basis too. Always open for those things too, so we can
Yeah,
discuss
because
that.
not everything is paranormal. So
No, no, and
there
again, I
are
know.
realistic reasons behind some instances.
Against
Yeah.
again, for me, I'm always of the skeptical approach to things, because it's so easy to just jump on the bandwagon and go, it's a ghost, and oh my god. But I have to rule out every possible physical or mental um, influence before I say there's something that we can't explain,
Yeah, well,
right?
that's like me with orb photography. That
Oh
drives me
yes.
crazy when
But
people,
here's the
send me photos. It's, look, I've got this orb in the
oh my goodness.
um
Oh much of that. No,
Hey,
you've got down.
no, sorry, you don't, because,
Yeah, and here's
and
the
then
thing about
you
orbs.
give them a scientific reason, knowing, a bit of photography background.
Right, and we did a show. Rachel and I did a show on orbs, and with my husband being a professional photographer and one who does a lot of he spends a lot of time looking at photographs for these paranormal shows before they bring their evidence on air. And so he's gotten really good at, and I've gotten really good at looking at them and understanding what's causing the phenomena. But the most interesting thing is that there is absolutely zero reference to orbs prior to photography. Nothing.
Digital photography.
No, photography
compared to 35 millimeter film.
Right.
From my experience, there is very little orb photography evidence out there when there were actual film cameras.
That's right.
Now,
when
with
there
the
was
development of the digital cameras, there's orbs everywhere. And I believe it's just the sensitivity of the cameras
there's
in
a lot
today's
of
technology.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that come into play. But even going back to the Victorian era with, the various types of photography that were taking place then, because the shutters were open for so long, were they getting any kinds of, no, not really. I mean, there's the odd light anomaly that will show up, but a lot of times that's just happening in the post in development, or you see these old photos where, these old Victorian photographs where there's, another face or there's something, and that is just in the development process because they had actually exposed or overlapped the previous image. And so you're getting these things. So orbs are something that, while I don't completely disbelieve in them, I do think that there are energy, things that are able to manifest. We actually have some photography from New Orleans that was completely unexplainable, and not just us, but numerous other people who took photography. And at the time, my husband was shooting with a 35 millimeter film camera. Other people were shooting with their cell phones. And then we did a combination of cell phone and 35 mil, and then an SLR camera. And it was interesting, the results. So we'll talk about that sometime in a future show. But that is again one of those things, right? So we will cover those. But so let's look at next week. We will talk about the spiritual and the spirits and the supernatural and the curses and all the things that go with King Tut's discovery and the party that was involved in that. And then the week after, we'll look at the actual scientific explanations for some paranormal occurrences. And then from there, it's the sky's
Sounds good.
But anyway, thank you again for everyone who, checks us out here on Facebook Live, and we appreciate it. Hopefully, you learned something. I know I learned things, between Ian and Rachel, and we learned.
And even if you didn't learn anything, hope we entertained you.
Yes, exactly. But we will see you next week. Hopefully Rachel will be back with us. And thanks again for checking out Down the Rabbit Hole. And we'll catch you on the other side.
Have a good afternoon, everybody.
Goodbye. Have fun. Be good. Don't be a ghost.